Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide, we're going to be looking at Azure Montpelier, the commander, and the guide. Look, it's a French name I can actually say because we stole it from the French and then use it for a capital, obviously. That being said, guys, it's hard to say this. I'm not negative. I like the commander, I like the ship, but they're poor man's ship, or a poor man's combo, and I'll talk about why the free combos are better than this. Now, that being said, I'm not saying the ship is bad or the commander. They're both good, but the free to play options are better. So we'll start with the commander, Azulina Montpelier. Her base trait is anti-air mode, which isn't bad for American cruisers. Um, is not. All right, and Burn It Down XXL, Igniter, her unique skill is All Out Assault, which, when you compare it, and what we're going to do, we're going to compare it to Norman Scott. I would much rather take Norman Scott because even though you do get it's a decent buff, the extra 5% damage is not good. In order to give this or take her over Norman Scott, you're giving up armed and ready. So fixated, and then obviously the same bonuses is what Norman Scott has. So if we go look at Norman Scott, the reason I like her better, or I like Norman Scott better, a few reasons. One, the biggest one, he's free. Okay, he's absolutely free, and you gotta remember a lot of people are still doing bureaus, and Norman Scott's gonna be handy in bureaus. He's all the time in a bureau. So putting resources into AL Montpelier in a already loaded American cruiser commander class, not ideal. Okay, is her base trait kind of handy? Yes, but I would much rather have Norman Scott's. And I know what you guys are going to say. There's ships like Rochester where she would be good on. Absolutely. But again, you should be with, especially Rochester, with the AP that has, you should be using AP and direct impact. The shell grouping in almost every sense of the way is going to be much more, it's going to be more helpful. Uh, Now, the other thing with Norman Scott is he's got a better unique skill, in my opinion. You still get the cool incoming fire dispersion, but more importantly, you get to see how many people are aimed at you. And I will take that over her perk of taking the extra damage every day of the week. Now, I still think she's a great commander. I just think Norman Scott is better. I like his perks better. Also, he's free. And also, he can be used in the bureau. That's 3 strikes on Azure Montpelier. And I like her. There's 3 more reasons to like Norman Scott. All right. That being said, we're using Montpelier on this build. And for the ship itself, guys, just like real life, um, this is a Cleveland class. All right. Not only is this the Cleveland class, it's actually worse than Cleveland itself. And settle down, Karen and Billy Joel. Make sure you got the right commanders and all upgrades on, but this ship is worse than Cleveland. The only little bit benefit that this has is it has like 9 millimeters more of armor pen and or like a half second quicker rudder. In the process of doing that, you're giving up range and reload. On the right side of that, the shells are the same. Everything else is pretty much identical. But again, not a bad ship. It's a good ship. But it's Cleveland, and it's a poor man's Cleveland in actuality. But if you like Cleveland and you want to have a premium version of it to make more money, this is not a bad ship at all. Again, both ship and commander just fine. The free to play options are just better. The upgrades. Aiming systems mod 1, prop and concealment is always in 2 and 3, and we're taking the main battery reload booster. for that. Now on this build, we're using fully packed, only because you you could do a refill station. I just didn't have when I did the video for this, I didn't have her at high enough to make refill station, in my opinion, the better option, right? Um, but refill station again, not bad. By the time, if any, for me, I never really use 3 radars, and when I do, the match is normally over anyway, so I could have used refill station to help get us to that point. Sonar, we have 3 of them on this build. We're fully packed, 3.1 torpedoes and 4.4 on ships. So not a great rate or sonar, but I mean it's helpful. Also radar, you do have a 9 kilometer 30-second radar, and you do have 3 heals, and that heal is definitely not better than. Let me go check. I'm just to be sure, but I didn't check the heals. I'm pretty sure them are the same heals. They are the same heals as Cleveland. So, um, that being said, this is basically Cleveland, guys. You don't have the range, right? The range or the reload. For the survivability, 36,000 hit points. And actually, just to check, 36 and 9, I don't remember on the hit points. 36 and 9, 36 and 9. Yeah, they're the same. So, again, um, we'll go over here. The main battery, you have the same guns. They're Cleveland guns. They're 6-inch guns, 12 of them. You have less range on the same build, but 15.2 is all I need, right? That's what I use on light cruisers. 15 kilometers. Reload is, instead of the initial 7 seconds that Cleveland has, this has 7.5. Turret traverse for a light cruiser, actually not awful, but definitely not good. Shell grouping is at 2. Um, the HE, it, not bad, right? That's what you're going to be spamming out of it. You want to build into fire chance if you can. That doesn't mean you don't use AP when you get the chance, though, with this ship. The AP is not terrible. I mean, it's a light cruiser, so it's not amazing, but you can get citadels with it if you need to. Secondary is not really worth mentioning. AA, same as Cleveland. We have a little buff, obviously, because it's her, but it's not. I mean, it's definitely decent, but it's not like something absolutely crazy. Maneuverability, 33 knots, or 660 turning circle, and a 6.5 for rudder. So I think the rudder is about a second quicker, and your concealment 10.9, right? So um, ideally, if I was playing this ship with because I do the guides and I link the commanders to the ships, I probably would maybe throw Beepley on this, or Norman Scott is what I would normally have on it. Stats wise, not amazing, obviously, for damage, but you can see with 2000 XP, I'm doing my job, and that's what a radar cruiser is. You're not worried about XP, I mean damage, you're worried about winning the game. Again, I cannot stress this enough. There's too many cruiser players that want to kite to the back of the map, and this only works when you kite, or kiting only works when you're uh, somebody's dumb enough to chase you, and you're giving up a radar, right? Like you have the ability to get rid of people, and with American shells, you can lob just about anything most of the time, unless you get yourself a little bit too close. Armor, it's a light cruiser, so anything over 14-inch guns are gonna hurt. Um, you're gonna have a glass citadel, right? Like you want to be hyper careful in this ship. Um, and you do have above water citadel. Again, like Cleveland. If you mess up in Cleveland, you're gone. Uh, but if you know what you're doing, you can play aggressive and be just fine. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we're at Greece. And you can see there's only two or a destroyer on each team. Going to be a little bit problematic, right, for this ship. Listen, a lot of people would salivate about having 4 battleships. I'm not that type of person. Right? If I get in the ship, I'm really hoping there's a lot of destroyers, cruisers maybe, for the most part. And also here, we're going to take a shot at a Magi. More, not necessarily for damage, but hoping for a fire to get him on a damage con or something started. But you can see we get our full pins. 5 of them on him. The other part hits the island. Now, I do get myself a little bit too close to this island. And that's going to be a hair of an issue. We're going to take a shot at Harbin. And for Harbin, we're going to actually, as you can see here, we're going to hit him and get him on fire. Now, a lot of times, if I know I'm close up, I will try to go ahead and hit AP on something. But being it's a light cruiser, you got to be relatively close for this AP. Can you build fully into the AP? Absolutely. If you want to do that instead of fire spam, but you got to build into it to make it that effective, right? The HE though on this thing pretty solid. So, and you could take equilibrium of power if you wanted to get that extra pen, and I could see that argument. But for me, it's a radar one cruiser, so when I get a hold of a destroyer, it's about the damage. I don't have to worry about, obviously, on a destroyer, about HE penetration. So that's just my thought on it, but I could definitely see the argument for that. For here right now, we're getting spotted, and we go ahead and radar, but we did it a hair late. I actually didn't think he was that close to the cap, and that's why I kind of waited to radar. Now, there's 4 guys over there at sea. I was hoping would take a shot at that destroyer. Not necessarily the case. Also, there are 4 guys right on top of me in this match. Like this, we spawn middle, we stay middle, right? This is our spawn, and we're gonna do our best to try to help out. And we now know there's a destroyer in the middle, so there's no way I'm leaving this match, like out of this spot. But there's no reason for these battleships to be hiding over here, especially one that spawned over at A. I get one of them, I get maybe 1 being in that position, but 4 of us being in this position is not good. And to be credit to Mines, it's not really, he's not going to go out to the open, especially when he's got a good position where he's in now. Me and him are both locked in a position. But as always, if you're not in a division in a light cruiser, it can be rough. There's going to be times where you just don't, you're not going to be just shoot, or you're not going to be able to shoot your guns off. You're not going to have spotting, and you just got to do what the most is what's given with you. This match, you can see, we've had an awfully slow start, right? We're doing our own. But with a light cruiser and a radar, you're able to dictate the area around you if you're in a good spot. For example, that destroyer did get the cap, right? But we're going to make his life, heck, he's not going to be trying to come out and blitz us because he knows we got a radar. Also, there's a mines here. And me and this mines, even though we're not going to be doing a ton of damage, are going to be controlling this match. We have the world's most spotting. Atlantico's starting to come forward. I didn't expect it. He was playing pretty passive. The other thing is Atlantico, obviously, there's no commander with fight fire with fire on this guy, so, or he doesn't have the option of fight fire with fire. So when you get Atlantico, you get your hands on Atlantico, you can burn him down real quickly. But we're going to be careful because we're going to get not spotted, right? Like, we don't want to be spotted all the time. It's just not a good thing. I actually started to go forward here thinking he was going to eat a torpedo and we're going to be able to eat him off quickly or burn him up quickly. This battleship that's been sitting next to me the entire time decides now is a good time to charge in. And somehow, I don't know how, but he's actually lost a good part of his health. I know eating a torpedo there, but just not ideal. Also, you can see I got smacked there by Atlantico. Listen, even making myself skinny, hoping that he wouldn't be able to get me, one shell, getting a Citadel. It just is what it is. You don't want to be trying to bounce battleship shells. It just isn't going to work. Obviously, they overmatch your entirety of the ship. And when you have nothing but a Citadel showing for them, essentially, not a good idea. Bismarck also, like, the craziness that is Bismarck players, right? Stays and hides behind an island, bomb rushes out when Atlantico was going to die anyway to our fires. Not ideal. All right. So again, we see Mogami here. We're going to go back to helping the middle because spawning in the middle is wonderful. And we've had a little bit of a slow start here, but now it's starting to pick up. I think at the 9 or 10 minute mark, we had like 10,000 damage, right? But now you're going to see kind of what this ship can do once you get some spotting. And we're going to start to unleash here on Amagi. And this poor Amagi didn't have his guns towards me because he doesn't. And then we're going to use our radar here to actually spot. We're spotting Mogami with it and Amagi as well. So both are Agis. I was actually hoping Mogami came out because you will, at 8 kilometers, you will Citadel Mogami, right? So I was hoping for that. We got Amagi now on his damage con and a double fire as well now. So what we're going to do is load AP and just do what we can with the AP here. Again, just making these guys come forward, we're going to make them pay. And we wouldn't necessarily be able to do that at the back of the map. So you just got to get yourself in good positions. Also understand when not to shoot your guns. And to be careful, right? Or limit who can shoot you. You don't want to charge out in front of a bunch of battleships, which we did have available. Amagi's actually angled in. I didn't realize that. I thought he was flat broadside when I took that shot. And we're going to go ahead and try to finish off Amagi. And we're going to go ahead now. And you're going to see here, once Amagi, a Mogami here. Mogami's angled here, so we're not going to do a ton to him, but we're going to stop them from getting our cap. Again, we're controlling the match. Lobbing an island at 8 kilometers is pretty good. So at this point, you're going to see here, though, in a second, once I realize he's not moving forward, there's no more battleships to be really scared of on this side of the map. So I'm going to start to be a troll, and I'm going to start to push up. And when you give me the opportunity against other cruisers, even in a light cruiser, I'm going to be real aggressive. Especially with the DPM capabilities that this ship does have. Especially against something like Petro. For those of you guys that don't know Petro, I played Petro very much recently. Petro, if you get any sort of broadside with any sort of AP, you're going to die. Another thing with AP, or with Petro, is it has the awfulest of turret traverse. It is absolutely crazy for a cruiser. It's like 50 seconds or something. So I can't remember the exact number, but I know it's atrocious. Now it does have 360-degree turrets, but the reason that's important is you getting a broadside of a crew of him. He's not going to be able to turn his turrets quick enough, and you're going to just be able to dev strike him. And without overmatch, there's not much he's going to do. right here, we're helping get rid of, obviously, Split. Split's going to try to go dark here and use his radar. And we had a radar almost ready here. But he's going to make his own mistake and get spotted again. I think, I don't know how he gets spotted, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. He's going to go down. But we did help get rid of him. So here, listen, the match is basically over now. We have 3 caps. We got rid of their destroyer. Our destroyer spotting on their side. There's not really a lot of ways to lose this. But we're going to pop our radar just to help our teammates spot for our teammates. Again, even though we've been in a cruise, right, we're in a light cruiser and we've been using island cover, we're still spotting. Like, we spotted Petrol, we spotted Mogami, we spotted Split, and we spotted Magi as well, the battleship. You're going to see here with AP, I'm going to go ahead, take his Citadel on Harbin. He's going to realize he doesn't want to be there. Again, here with Petrol, knowing his turret traverse is pretty terrible. Most players, when you drive at him, we're going to slow down, but he's going to panic and just try to run away. And we already have a fire going on him. Here I take a bad shot. I actually thought I was far enough forward where I was going to be able to Citadel him. It don't matter. Petrol can't do anything at this point here. And he goes down. So we get him with our fire. Not much to be scared of on a Petrol. A good Petrol player, yes. Yeah, Petrol can be an absolute nightmare, but in that scenario, not ideal. Here, with only basically Harbin left on this side, we're going to go try to charge him because, again, we're not scared of him as we do get the cap, but he does everything in his power not to be biased. Not that he knew intentionally did it, but we couldn't get to him in time. But even with that said, and being careful, right? A solid match in a almost 3K base game in a light cruiser with not much spotting. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you folks next time.